Hey y'all, welcome back to Bourbon and Bones. For those of you keeping track, this is in fact our 8th episode. I know that we have 2 6s on the books, but trust me, I really am good at math. For those of you that are new here, welcome. We do like to have a little bit of fun, make fun of ourselves. But if you like what we're doing, like and subscribe below. Tonight we're going to be doing our first ever uncorking. Of course, we're going to be talking about the most anticipated bottle in 2020. It's from Wild Turkey, and it's Wild Turkey's Master Key 17-year bottle and bond. I mean, just look at the box. It is a beautiful color, wonderful. There's just printed all over it. It's absolutely fantastic. This is actually the 5th release of Master's Keep and the 2nd ever out of Wild Turkey that is actually bottle and bond. The first one being nearly 13 years ago, and that was American Spirit. So what is bottle and bond, I hear you ask? Simply put, everything that it takes to be a bourbon is still there. But to carry the bottle and bond label, the bourbon must be produced in a single distilling season by one distiller at one distillery and aged in federally bonded warehouses and bottled at exactly 100 proof. Oddly enough, in Master's Keep, there's actually the listing of only one master distiller, which is very uncommon because it's actually a father-son combo currently in place. But for it to be bottled and bond, only one can be given the credit of doing so. And to be fair, anymore, the bottle and bond is kind of more desirable than it is useful. Back when the law was first written, it really made sure that bourbon was an exceptionally produced product. Now there are so many other standards within the industry, even just within what we would buy as a consumer, it really doesn't mean as much as it used to. But it does hold still this like classic prestige. And so I think a lot of distillers are really kind of looking for how to stay above the curve of desire when it comes to producing something new again. We're really going to dive further into all of that in a different episode. I think I'm going to save that for Colonel E.H. Taylor, so look forward for that one. But yeah, that's my quick and dirty description of what it means to be bottled. Now, Wild Turkey itself has a colorful past, much like most old whiskey companies in Kentucky. Tonight we're going to very quickly glaze over some of the history because I know you all are much more interested in the bourbon tonight. Frankly, so am I. The distillery is nestled high on a bluff overlooking the Kentucky River, and it's a beautiful spot out there. And here are some fun pictures of the distillery, a tour I did with my best friend back in 2017. So the distillery initially began back in 1891 and closed for Prohibition. After reopening the distillery, it actually began producing bourbon for other people. And one of the most notable characters they were producing bourbon for was Austin Nichols, a non-distilling producer that took some of the select bourbon on a hunting trip with his buddies, and they were hunting wild turkey. Legend then follows that the same buddies kept asking for that wild turkey bourbon that he brought with him, until pretty much the name kind of stuck. And in 1971, Nichols purchased the distillery and officially named it Wild Turkey. One more quick note about bottle and bond whiskeys. The name of the distillery and the DSP number and the location of the distillery are all on the bottle and any packaging that holds the whiskey. What is uncommon, though, is here at the bottom, it actually tells you which rickhouses that this whiskey was aged in. And it was actually the Camp Nelson Rickhouses down in Justin County, Kentucky. Camp Nelson is actually just south of Lexington in Justin County, like I said. And it's actually the county I grew up in. So if you take 27 south, go through Nicholsville, and you're heading down towards the river, you'll actually pass the Wild Turkey Rickhouses. And here's actually a little picture of that from Google Earth, just how close they are to the highway. A little tidbit about Camp Nelson. It's actually a national cemetery. Back during the Civil War, it was a watchout along the Kentucky River to protect Frankfort from any Confederate invasion from the water. The camp was also where Union soldiers trained escaped and newly freed slaves to fight the Confederacy itself. And in fact, my scout troop did a lot of projects at Camp Nelson and helped to restore an old church that was also an African American school. And occasionally we would slip off from our little weekend retreats there, hike about a half mile or so, and sneak into some of the rick houses to explore. This might sound crazy now, but back in the early 2000s, bourbon was not really that popular around the country. It wasn't home, of course, but we always liked bourbon. This bottle and bond was actually laid down in 2003. I could have easily run past this barrel and never knowing that after 17 years it would follow me all the way out here to Arizona. It's kind of fun for me. I know this has nothing to do with the bourbon itself, but it does go to demonstrate that bourbon is a part of people's lives. And it's not just a product to be hoarded and sold on the secondary market. I know we've had that discussion before, but it's something I remember. So after all this reminiscing and a little bit of history, let's dig into the bottle finally. So here's a really good close-up picture of the inside flap. It's actually a little message from Eddie Russell, the master distiller. Finally, the bottle itself. So as you can see here, the same turkey flying across the bottle has been etched on top of the glass. And it's just a beautiful bottle. Around the neck here, it says it's crafted with conviction. It's bottle and bond. It gives you the DSP number, age 17 years, and even some little tasting notes that were approved by Eddie Russell himself. And of course, a batch number 0001. All right, so let's get into this thing. Really heavy cork. This is actual wood wrapped in metal. That is surprising. So right away, as soon as you open it, it is corn and oak. It smells delicious. So we have our little glass here. Couple of ounces in, waste any. I kind of almost feel this would be better if it, or at least as powerful, if it actually breathed a little bit. That is, I mean, it is just an explosion. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm getting oak and warm oak. If you've ever cut an old piece of wood, it has that warmed up wood smell. Some kind of cherry, dark fruit of some kind, and a little funkiness. Kind of like when you have a really old rum, it has this like a little bit of a funk. In a great way. Don't be turned off by that. It's a fantastic smell. And just, of course, great caramels and vanillas and complex toffees. Let's taste it. It is heavy on the palate. I mean, most bourbons are kind of a medium body. This is like maple syrup thickness, just right on the palate. It has that broad, toasty, woody sawdustiness, and nice smoke. Definitely getting these dark fruits, nice vanillas, really complex, marzipan-y, toffee, chocolate kind of approach. That's fantastic. I mean, it might be one of the best bourbons I've ever had. Just saying a lot. I've had a lot of bourbon. This is fantastic. I mean, I've got to admit, Walter, you have outdone yourself. Just amazing. So, like normal, we're gonna take a quick little break, add some water. I'm gonna take a quick little rest, and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, welcome back, y'all. Again, we are tasting Master's Keep, 17-year-old bottle and bond. Honestly, it took at least 5 or 8 of those 10 minutes for this bourbon to kind of leave my palate. It really just hangs on there. A little bit of water, about 0.2 ounces. And right away, the nose is different. It is dark cherry fruit right up front. It is like that earthy funkiness. I think a good way to describe this, if you've ever been in a vineyard, you kind of smell this growing soil farm kind of feel to it, without the animals, just growth, this living kind of funk. I'm just so impressed with how complex this is. After 17 years, it's going to be, but it's still just incredibly impressive. So on the palate now, you're very much getting those dark cherries, very classic toffee, caramel, vanilla, and actually a little bit more spice, a little bit more black pepper and cinnamon. It was kind of not there before a whole lot. You even get this little bit of a brining kind of smoke effect, almost like a Speyside Scotch. But that is still just toasty oak. I just can't tell you how good it is. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, you can really say, try an ounce. I hate to put it away, but I think it's verdict time. So Wild Turkey Master's Keep 17-year-old bottle and bond. I will put one caveat with it. It is expensive. Like the kind where I was probably almost having to sleep on the couch for a while. But the girlfriend's pretty nice. That's my only reservation with this. This is an expensive bottle of bourbon. It is a fantastic bottle of bourbon. It is probably one of the most complex, smoothest, well-aged, crafted bottles I've ever had. I do not think that if you could get your hands on one, you will be disappointed in any way at all. Or if you have a friend you can steal it from, might be a cheaper option. Just saying, it's probably worth it. So now we're going to look at a curious little specimen. It's actually a tailpiece from the late Cretaceous dinosaur called Thescelosaurus Neglectus. This little guy lived 66 to 68 million years ago, mostly in North America. It was a bipedal, meaning 2 legs that got around. It was a herbivore. Due to the fragmented remains, it assumed to have grown from 2.5 to 4 meters or 8 to 13 feet long. So as you can see from the skeletal picture here, this little piece of bone that's currently missing on my specimen allowed a lot of muscle to grow down the tail. That added weight to the tail, so the dinosaur itself was allowed to be bipedal. So imagine the feet are right here in the middle, so the tail goes out, and allows the front end to be off its front legs while still being pretty much horizontal. Opposite of vertical, horizontal. Let's going this way. This little dinosaur was first discovered back in 1891 by paleontologists John Bell Hatcher and William H. Utterback. You might know them better from another discovery of theirs. It's a little thing called Triceratops. So they discovered Thescelosaurus in Wyoming and shipped it back east, and wound up in the hands of the Smithsonian. There it sat for 22 years until it was unboxed and prepared and first described in 1913 by Charles W. Gilmore. He gave the specimen the scientific last name as Neglectus, meaning neglected. So it's a little sad thing. And here's a picture of the holotype. The holotype means it's the first animal described in a scientific paper. In this case, a paleontologist described this animal as a new species. So oftentimes when you're going through a museum, you actually might see a little H or holotype insignia next to a specimen. You're actually looking at the very first one. Neat little thing next time you go to the museum. So the fact that this specimen was left in a box for 22 years is unfortunately somewhat common. This little guy was actually discovered at the tail end of Great Bone Age, and many specimens were lost to storage houses, some for well over 100 years before they were rediscovered and opened up and finally looked at. The reason why so many were lost is that the most complete or the largest were the first ones to get priority, and the other ones kind of just kept getting pushed further and further back. Some recent papers I've been reading believe that Thescelosaurus was actually covered in protofeathers. It actually might have had some mild ability to chicken, float, fly, flap, undignified through the air. This is still being debated, but the evidence does appear to be headed in that direction. Anyway, this little dinosaur ran around the countryside. Unlike this turkey, who just sat around for 17 years. Thank you for joining us tonight here at Bourbon. If you like what we're doing here, comment, like, share, and subscribe us below. Remember, share bourbon with someone.